Hi, this is Callie with craftingcallie.wordpress.com. Thanks for joining me today. I am making a birthday card using some new Stampin' Up! Products that I recently got, so I'm excited to share this one. It actually uses two new sets, one called Banter and the other called Build a Birthday, and I'm going to be using My Favorite Things cross-stitch rectangle stacks to make a frame out of the cake that I'm going to build using this set. So when I first start, I'm going to stamp directly on this card base here, which is a piece of Recollections cardstock that is 110 pounds. So at first I was going to use the acrylic blocks just to stamp directly on it, and I decided I probably wasn't going to get the best of stamp images from a new stamp set that's photopolymers, so I decided to pull out my Misty, and I want to show you real quick here the vinyl gridded sheets that I got off Amazon. I got this idea from Maureen Wong, and she made these grids, or bought them and cut them and shared the idea. And so I decided to do the same. This is an A2 size cut that I've drawn with a Sharpie, the halfway marks and also the thirds. So as you can see there, I am just layering on my pieces to make sure that everything is perfectly centered and where I want it. And I'm going to stamp the cake base or the cake stand in smoky slate. And I'm finding here that yes, everything does not stamp well the first time. So I'm stamping everything twice. And so the Misty tool is great for this, but it also makes the image darker than I originally intended, which is okay. This is for a guy, so I think that's going to be perfectly fine. And then here on the Marina Mist, my stamp pad is very wet. So when I go to stamp it the second time, it kind of distorts the little details that are on my stamp, but that's okay too. I don't think that my friend Harold is going to care. So the third piece here is the second tier of the cake called Perfect Plum, or that's the ink color anyway. And then my last and final tier is going to be in Wild Wisteria. That back piece in black that you see is a piece of foam, and obviously the magnet is having a hard time keeping the paper down through the thick cardstock and also that piece of foam. So anyway, it slips out a couple of times, but as long as you position it back into its original place there in the nook in the corner of the Misty, then everything should stamp in the right place. So now I'm going to be creating the frame for this cake using some Marina Mist cardstock. And again, these are the My Favorite Things cross-stitch stacks dies. And this is the rectangular one. I did use the round one in my Father's Day cards for this weekend, and you can see that in an earlier video. I'm going to be using the Banter stamp kit to make some banners for the top of this frame, and I'm going to be using the same colors as I did for the cake pieces. So I brought in a piece of white cardstock. It's just a scrap piece that I'm going to be stamping these banters on. And you'll see that when I go to start stamping, the original stamp color is going to be a little bit too dark for my liking. So I'm going to be stamping a second time without re-inking the stamp on the back side. This is called stamping up or stamping off if you didn't already know. But as you can see there, it's a little bit dark, so I'm going to flip it over and stamp it. And this is more the color that I'm looking for a banner, because I also want to stamp some sentiments over top of these banners before I cut them out. So I'm going to do the same thing to all three colors here. So Marina Mist, Perfect Plum, and Wild Wasabi. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to bring in some Memento Tuxedo black ink and stamp the sentiments. And I'm going to do my best to stamp them perfectly centered. They are not photopolymer stamps. These are the clear mount stamps by Stampin' Up. So they have foam on them already, and they are made out of the red rubber stamps. So this one here does not stamp as perfect, but that's okay. We will work with that. And I'll cut those out using the coordinating punch, the banner punch. And I'll do that off camera as well, so I can spare you from having to see me go through all that. The last one there didn't have any place for me to hold, so it did take me a little bit to fuss and cut that out. So I'm going to pull in some yellow twine left over from an older pumpkin kit that I had. It's just a piece of scrap twine. nothing too special or new. And then I am going to adhere this twine to the back of the frame using some Zotz adhesive dots. So this stuff is pretty strong. You kind of have to pull it off of the paper there. So I'll go ahead and attach my trim to this, or my twine to this, and then I'll trim it. And then once I'm done with that, what I do off camera is I line this whole entire frame with some 3M foam tape. And I did spare you from that as well. So I go ahead and I do that, and I put the entire frame, this frame around the cake, onto the cardstock. So you don't see that, but it is propped up. And now I'm going to prop up the banners using 2 pieces of foam tape. And then I'm going to put the twine in the center there and hold it down using the 2 pieces of foam tape that are on that banner. So I do that to all 3 pieces. And I thought I was done with this cake, and then I thought something is missing towards the bottom, or a banner of some sort. So before I do any more to this card, I am going to turn towards a different direction and decorate an envelope to match this cake. So I use the same stamps from that stamp set, and using the same colors, I'm going to turn these pieces into candles. I stamp these candle bases on the envelope, and then I'm going to use another little piece of stamp from the same stamp set that's a flame. And I'm going to stamp this in So Saffron, and then I'll pull in my pumpkin pie Stampin' Write marker and just color the centerpiece there to make the flame look a little bit more realistic or fun. And now I'm going to pull in my black Stampin' Write marker and just draw over the yellow there for the wick. And I decide that the cake was missing a bit of something, so I decided to make a banner. This is So Saffron again, and I'm just using a piece of sponge to sponge some color on this piece of banner. And it doesn't need to be perfect, I just wanted a little bit of color. So I'm going to trim this piece down and then stamp the sentiment on it. And then I fuss with it for a little bit to get it to where it's on the card just right for me. I prop it up again with foam tape towards the center there where it's inside the frame, and then I kind of bend it and get it to wrap around the frame, and then trim the banner down to where it's not sticking out, because I am going to be mailing this card. And then I glue that down, or the ends down anyway, with some multimedia matte glue. Laura Bassett calls it M&M glue, so I think that's pretty cute. Anyway, that is my card, and I just also wanted to give a shout out to Sandy Allnock and thank her for referencing my blog and linking people back to my blog regarding the Copic setup that I have. I had tons of views and visitors yesterday to my blog, and I'm so grateful for her just linking people back to my blog and introducing new people to my blog. I'm so grateful for that, and I'm grateful for all the new followers that I got because of it, and new viewers as well. And thank you everyone who has supported me, and I appreciate you stopping by and watching today. So I'll see you again next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.